Welcome back to the Ghost Bunny podcast. I'm your host, Bridget Marquardt, with a brand new episode for you. My guest today is Ansley Lane. Ansley Lane is the creator of Foodie, where she blends her love for food and drink into the paranormal. Born and raised in Las Vegas, she grew up seeing ghosts and has always had a deep connection to the supernatural. Now she's based in Los Angeles, and she says she doesn't find ghosts scary. She calls it ghost hanging and not ghost hunting, and she's had a passion for haunted history and culinary exploration, and she uncovers the stories behind haunted bars, restaurants, and dishes, using food and drink to connect with the spirit world. She brings a fun and fresh twist to the supernatural, proving that ghosts can be a lot less scary than people think. And I was so excited to have Ansley on the show today to talk about all the best haunted Valentine's Day spots. Ansley, thank you so much for doing the Valentine show today.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
I love a theme. Everyone knows that. But I was thinking, how fun it would be to do a show where somebody who knows about all the haunted bars, all the haunted restaurants, all the haunted hot spots to go to for Valentine's Day. So I made a list. Where does my list even start?
Where do we even start?
You know what? Let's just start by people getting to know you a little bit. Tell me a little bit about why you're even into the supernatural, what your history is like. I know that it started when you were very young. And so let's just start there.
Sure. So Las Vegas, born and raised. I've always been into the paranormal. I've seen and heard so many things that I can't explain ever since I was a child. Vegas itself is super haunted. And my grandpa was a famous poker player, so I actually spent a lot of time on the Strip. And he took me to so many cool places. And I've stayed in hotel rooms where I've seen apparitions and just seen things I can't explain. So I've always been super into it. And on the food side, obviously in Vegas, you have every culinary cuisine ever. And so, when I was young, I would go to all these restaurants. So I kind of developed a palate at a young age, and I've always just been a foodie. So it's cool.
Yeah. Well, tell me about some of the, I don't know if you can see, but I have a cat that is begging for attention right now.
Yay.
Tell me about, come here.
Oh, hi, baby.
Say hi. Okay, going back to some of these apparitions that you saw in hotel rooms, what hotels? Do you remember what hotels and what you saw?
The Riviera, which I think they demolished. I remember seeing this, there was an apparition of a man that I saw at the end of the hallway, in a hotel hallway. He was just standing there, and then he just disappeared when I blinked my eyes. At the Bellagio, where I would be a lot, I used to stay in a hotel room there sometimes, and there were times where I would be sitting in the bed and the sink would go off by itself, or the TV would turn on and off by itself. I've also seen things in parking lots. I've literally seen children running around, and my parents will be with me, and I'll say I want to go play with them, and there's nobody there. I've seen just so many different things, and I remember them so vividly. It's crazy.
That's so interesting. And what's interesting too is Bellagio, because not that Bellagio's new or anything like that, but Riviera, I totally get it. It's a super old hotel, but Bellagio seems new in comparison. And for that one, I mean, not that anywhere can't be haunted, but it's just interesting. And it makes me wonder where the Bellagio is now.
I know, me too. I don't know what happened, but I know there's been probably murders and a lot of different things and bad things that have happened in all these hotels. That's a given. It's Sin City. But the one that I remember the most is the El Cortez Hotel. And they apparently have a bunch of dead bodies underneath the hotel. I think the owner or somebody said that if you can't afford a burial, you can be buried underneath the El Cortez. So they have a ton of bodies underneath from old staff members and stuff like that. I'm currently trying to get in there to see where this is, because apparently you can go in.
This is wild.
I know.
How do they do that? Okay, wait.
I don't know.
Where's El Cortez?
It's
it downtown?
It's in the old, I think it's called the El Cortez. It's in downtown Vegas, old Vegas. It's one of those hotels over there. So yeah. Pretty wild stuff.
And they're able to bury bodies literally underneath, they know where the bodies are buried.
I guess what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I don't know.
I wonder if that's like some wild rumor or if that is true.
I know. I hear it from the Vegas locals that that's like actually a thing, like that they have like a bunch of bodies underneath. So, and the people are all about it there. Like they're like, yeah, we have like just a bunch of random dead bodies underneath our hotel. Cool. Weird.
What I was going to say too, when we were talking about the Bellagio a second ago, is that even though they're huge hotels and things happen, and like you said, it's Sin City, so every hotel in Vegas is going to have, you know, some sort of deaths of some sort. But I also think aside from that, all the energy that's in there in Vegas, like in each hotel, all the people that come and go all the time, all the people were that, even if it was positive energy, like got married there or had a great win there, or just like the best time of their life there, their bachelor party, their bachelorette party, like all the crazy good energy too, I think also can translate into hauntings.
Absolutely. It's everywhere. It's all over the strip. You definitely feel it. Like when you really pay attention to it, you can feel that side for sure.
Yeah, it's interesting because, and I've talked about this about New York City too, and even LA to an extent, but like it's so busy and it's so bustling and everybody's like there to do something, you know, they're busy doing something. And so you kind of don't tune into that energy so much when you're there. But if you do, if you just like kind of calm down and take it in for a little bit, you can feel it there.
Yes. And I've heard, and I haven't been into any, but I heard like their strip clubs, like most Vegas strip clubs are super haunted. Like some bad things have happened there. I want to go and do a strip club series and interview some of these people about this stuff because I find that really interesting.
I do too, and it makes me wonder who's haunting those. Is it the land that was there? Is it former strippers? Is it is it customers? Like, is it people who owned them? Like, who's haunting it?
I know. I know that there's been some murders at a few of them. And I
Or
mean,
that?
that definitely will add to it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Vegas in general is just, it's full of hauntings. Same with LA for sure.
Yeah. Have you been to Zak's museum in Vegas?
No, I've always wanted to go. I want to do the night tour, the whatever that is, the flashlight one.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
I
Oh,
need to
I've just
go.
done a regular one, and it was a long time ago, but I went there and recorded my podcast like in the museum with one of the docents, and then later went back and got a tour, and it's and I know it's changed so much even since I was there, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I can't imagine being there alone. Oh my, I don't know what I would do. I would be too freaked out.
No,
I
I
don't know
want
if
to
I can
do
do
that.
that.
I
Yeah.
want to do that. Yeah.
I think I would be too scared.
It would be scary for sure because when you're in like I was on a tour with, say, I don't even know how many people are on their tours, but let's just say 20 people during the day. And there definitely things happened on that tour that I can't explain.
Yeah.
Like definitely things happened. So I just feel like being able to be there by yourself and spend the night would be, I mean, I don't even have to spend the whole night, just like part of the night would be epic.
It honestly, it would be cool if like I was with a few people. I feel like it'd be fun, but if I did it alone, like I think I would run out crying. So
Well, everything's more fun with a few people, like with a couple people. So I think that would be the best way, but it would be so fun.
like a
Anyway, you got to
girl
go check that
sleepover.
out. I heard some good ghost stories about the Tropicana, which is obviously no longer there.
Yes. Yes. My dad told me once that he saw like a spirit of a man there too, but it was a really long time ago. But I mean, I know the Tropicana has a lot of mob history, so it might have
Mm.
been tied to that. I've heard a lot of stories from there. I haven't seen anything, but yes, definitely. But yeah, that's another place in Vegas that's gone. It's crazy how much it's changing so fast. But I
Hey,
feel like the ghosts will still remain. Like they'll never
you
go
know what?
away.
That's an interesting question that I'll put out to you. And you're actually the first person I'm asking this about. But Nick, my husband, brought up an interesting thought, and he said, "What happens? Like, for instance, the LA fires that we just are having, or still having, and the like a specific." Well, all of them, but specifically the ones like in Altadena with those historic homes and stuff, like you know that some of those were haunted. Like, what happens to the ghosts then? And I'm like, well, the I think that they would still be there because even the land, can just be haunted. Like it
Yes.
could be a brand new house, but the land could still be haunted. But then I got to thinking, if this was their home, if this belonged to somebody way back in the day, and this was their beloved home, I wonder if it makes them want to leave too.
I feel that. I feel like it can go two different ways. I think if it's an attachment to the home and like the physical objects, which we know like some objects can be haunted
Mm.
because someone's attached to them, I think then they will go away. If they're attached to like the house itself, I feel like they would pass on. But if there's like a body buried in the ground or something underneath, like I feel like that wouldn't go away. But I agree with what you're saying. I think if the home is gone, they I know it sounds dark, but they might have moved on as well.
Yeah. And that if somebody rebuilt on it, that they might not have any attachment to that and not be there anymore.
Right. Right. Or the ghost will just be pissed. I don't know.
Yeah, or they'll be like
We'll
looking
find
around
out.
going, "What is this? What is this?"
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
That's
It's so sad
possible.
though. The homes and everything, the homes in Altadena were so beautiful. It's just like, wow.
I mean, obviously in the Palisades they were too, but it's a different kind of beautiful. Like the Palisades
Yes.
were like newer and mansions and gorgeous and stuff mostly. And then the
Yes.
Altadena ones were like the very historic old LA type thing, and we just don't have a lot of that in
I
LA. So
know.
the fact that there's so much of it gone now is
I
really,
know.
really sad. Really
I
sad. I mean,
know.
all of it's sad,
All of
but
it.
you know, like it's just like those cannot be replaced. I mean,
I
they
know.
and there's some the people have been posting like pictures and videos of some of these gorgeous mansions that are just like totally gone. Like one was built, I saw one the other day, was built in 1915, and it was like pink and beautiful and amazing. And I'm like, "Oh
Dream
my
home.
god." Yes, it like hurts my heart. It
Yeah.
really does.
Same.
So how
Same.
old were you when you came to LA?
So I went to Chapman University in Orange County. I graduated high school 2017. So I was out in Orange County. I was a screen acting major there. I also did film. So I was there and then I graduated in 2021 and then just moved to LA to be in film and entertainment and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and you also used to use the Ouija board when you were younger. So that helped you connect.
It helped me. It definitely did. And I think I invited some pretty bad things at times and I freaked myself out and I witnessed some scary stuff. So I haven't really touched one since I did at the Queen Mary. We did a Ouija board session alone in the Mauritania room, and that was scary. We kept hearing people whistling in our ears, like whistling. It was so real. Like I can't even explain. Honestly, my whole trip to the Queen Mary was probably the most paranormal I've ever experienced, honestly. That and
Wow.
I didn't even expect it. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be overrated." Like everyone just says it's haunted because it's old. And then I went, hearing the whistling, feeling a hand touch me in the middle of the night, my dresser being pulled in the middle of the night, all these different things. There was somebody during we had a private tour with the commander of the ship, and he took us into the pool area and something touched my shoulder for about 10 seconds, and it was just like someone's fingertips just tapping me, and I thought it was my hair, but my hair was up. So I screamed, and the commander, without me saying anything, said, "I saw it too." And I was like, "Wait, what did you see?" And so that was confirmation. He said, "I saw a shadow literally standing behind you and then moving away." And I've never been touched by a spirit before like that, ever, for that long. And so that was creepy to me.
Wow. Yeah, the Queen Mary is very haunted and it's definitely not overrated. Like every
Yeah.
time I go there, I have some sort of experience. It might be a small thing, like the REM pod keeps going off or something, but there's always something. There's always something. I experienced a ghost cat on there. I kept hearing a meowing noise. And I was like, where is that coming from? And then I asked about it and they were like, oh, the ghost cat.
I feel like you need to adopt a ghost cat and just have one in your house.
I probably have one already.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh, well, did you eat while you were at the Queen Mary? Did you eat
Yeah,
at the
we ate
restaurant?
on the ship. Yeah, we ate at the restaurant. I had French dip. It was really good. Loved that. They have good food there. I
They have
liked it.
great food. You're talking about I think it's called the Chowder House, right?
Yes. And I
'Cause
had clam chowder too. Yes, it was really good.
I had fish and chips there that were delicious.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And then there's another restaurant that's like really nice and high end. It's shut down right now, but it used to be Sir Winston's
Yes.
Steakhouse. It's like one of those restaurants where it's like comes in courses. It's like a 6-course dinner or something.
I never went. I wanna go. It's been closed because I think it's not ADA compliant or something. They have to, like, fix that. I think that's the reason why they're closed, but I definitely wanna
Well,
go when they
it's
open again.
I went in there just to investigate a little bit, and it's not even set up as a restaurant right now. So I think it's going to be a while.
Oh, wow.
But
Wow.
hopefully they
Yeah.
bring it back, because I had kind of an interesting experience in Sir Winston's. We were there with Hef. We were filming the show. There's a huge group of us, right? Having dinner, and I got up to go to the bathroom, and I felt it was just a feeling, but I felt like very nervous and kind of scared, and like I wasn't alone. And this is not a big bathroom. This is only like a couple of stalls, but I felt like I need to hurry up and get out of there.
Oh,
And I
they
don't
were
even know, like I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything. It's just a feeling.
oh, like, you weren't welcome in a way?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't even not welcome. It was more just like I wasn't alone. There was definitely a presence in there, but yet I was alone, so that makes it creepy.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
that's
like
how
want
I
to hurry
felt
up and
there.
get out.
Yeah. That's how I felt there the entire time. I felt like I was being followed. Like, that honestly, what I told you is just, like, the tip of the iceberg of what I experienced. Like, I just felt like I was being followed the entire time. There was just no escaping.
Yeah. There's so many stories of the Queen Mary. I mean, I feel like we could spend the whole hour talking about that.
Literally.
But I want to go back to your Ouija board experience. What makes you think that you had bad spirits come through?
When my dad and I lived in one of our houses that we were in, that's when I was experimenting the Ouija board. I was in my Ouija board era, doing it by myself, which is not a good thing to do. I think I was just getting into the spooky side and I didn't know the repercussions. Like, I didn't know what could happen when you
Yeah.
open yourself up that way and you don't know how to close. Like, I thought I was just talking to like a little boy or something. And then the energy of the house, well, thankfully we moved out like a month later, but the energy of the house like felt really strange. My dad said that there were quarters on his dresser and they were just thrown off out of nowhere. um I saw somebody standing at the foot of my bed and just like the energy was not good. And I was just hearing things and it was just not a good experience at all. And when we left, like, I mean, it didn't follow me or anything, but I would not suggest ever doing that. That was very stupid of me, and I think I did release something I wasn't supposed to.
And then what made you decide to play with the Ouija board at the Queen Mary?
Um, well, so my friend Zachariah the witch, I don't know if you know him, but
Yes. Yes.
he's very experienced in all that kind of stuff, and he believes that the Ouija board is just like another mode of spiritual communication, and he said that I should try it again. And we did, and we got the same initials as someone we were speaking with in the hospital area, in the hospital ward, and they said exactly how they passed away, and we looked on our phone, those same initials, that same name, like they passed away in the way that I think it was like a heart attack or something, but it was strange. I guess they followed us, and the whistling is what got me. There was just whistling every 10 seconds from something behind us. And I caught it on camera, but there's this person behind Zachariah's head. There's a mirror behind him, and there's this person that turns their head a complete 180 really fast and then goes back and then goes away. It is terrifying. I was editing the video and I was like, what the heck is that? I was so scared. And I still can't explain it to this day.
Oh, that's crazy.
I know. I know. Yeah. Some crazy stuff on that ship. And using the Ouija board on it definitely made it 10 times scarier.
Well, do you feel like it is just a mode of communication now, or are you still afraid of the Ouija board?
I think now that I know like spiritual boundaries and things I need to like implement before and after I do these kinds of sessions, I think it's safer. But I feel like if you don't know what you're doing, you can't just do it. You can't just open yourself up like that to random energy. You have to kind of know how to close. And also having somebody that you trust doing it with you definitely helps. And being in that headspace, it's I think the biggest thing is to be in that headspace and that mindset, you know.
Yeah, because a
So
similar thing happened to me too. Like I played with the Ouija board when I was younger. I didn't do it alone. I had my cousin with me, but we still like I think let something in that wasn't who it said it was. I was reaching out to my great grandfather, the only person that I knew that had passed away at that time. And it was supposedly him, and he was talking to us and answering questions. But then I started seeing him after that, and things were really scary. And it wasn't like this guardian angel or like this nice thing. It was like scary, and it was nightmares, and it felt like being watched and being followed. And it felt very bad. And so I swore off the Ouija board for the longest time too. And then just like you, I was at an investigation at Daydreams and Nightmares, which is a costume store in Northern California, Modesto. And she had a Ouija board sitting out. And I said, "Oh, do you play that?" With that, and she was like, "Oh, sometimes, why do you not like them?" And I said, "Oh, I stay away from those and everything." And she's like, "Why? It's just another form of communication." And after she said that, I was like, "Oh, she's kind of right." And then she was like, "You'll do the pendulum, you'll do the dowsing rods, you'll do, the spirit boxes,
spirit
you'll do all those
box.
other things, but like you won't play with the Ouija board." And so since then, I've just not been afraid of the Ouija board anymore, and I'm totally fine with it. But now I don't use it because it's too damn slow.
It's too slow. I'm just like, oh, come on, like let's use some other equipment. Let's make this faster so we can have a better conversation. It is really slow. It's just, yeah.
It's really slow, and I feel like technology has advanced, so let's use it.
Exactly. Exactly. Sometimes it's fun when you like set up the environment and you have
Yeah.
like a bunch of people, but
Yes.
like that's only once in a while. Like I'm not going to use it every single time for sure.
Yes, I did have a situation like that where there was like this big group and there was a Ouija board set up and they were taking turns who wants to use it, and it's moving, and seeing everybody's reaction when it actually moves. People were really freaking out. That was fun. So I get that. But yeah, if you're trying to do a real investigation, the Ouija board's going to be like
Yeah,
very slow.
exactly. And also when you're filming too, and then people are commenting like you're moving that. It's like, bro, no, like I swear to God, I'm not. Like I want this as much as you do. Like I want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get people to believe you too, because they're just like, oh, you're moving it. It's like, no, like that defeats the purpose of me being here.
And then supposedly they say that we are moving it without even realizing we're moving it because it's our idiomotor skills, and like, so then it just gets like, okay, let's do something else.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just you can't win. But yeah, at least there's other tools now that we can use. And I have a lot of new toys. So it's been fun.
Yeah. Well, speaking of me seeing my grandpa, don't you have a something with your grandmother?
Mm, I have something with my grandpa.
Oh, it's your grandpa.
I have something with my grandpa. My grandpa has actually been visiting me a lot the past few weeks. He's been doing visitations, and I usually don't have visitations ever. But a few weeks ago, like a month ago now, this is very personal, but I was going to sleep and I had this memory pop up of him and I in a leather jacket store, a kind of memory that I don't even remember having. And his face comes right against my face and he says like, "Take care of your mom. She doesn't have much time left." And I was like, what is going on? And then I start sobbing. It's like 2 a.m. And a week later, my mom goes into the hospital and she almost dies. And it was crazy to me that that moment felt so real. And it's something I can't even explain. And she's fine now. Everything's okay. But it was like, whoa. And I again, like I just recently went through a breakup, and the day it happened, he came to me again, and I looked beautiful. Like there was like this moment where he came in front of my face. He looked at me like I was a kid again, and then there was like this image of me looking beautiful in this white casket with 6 people dressed in white ushering me to a window with like a beautiful moonlight. And then he comes back into frame and he says rebirth. and I was smiling in it. Like I felt so calm, and it was so freaking real to me. And I've never really experienced that before, but I've had psychics I know literally tell me that he's always around, like he's always with me, watching over me. And I've had psychics tell me things like I would never tell them. Like it's so it's been very validating. And yeah, I've never experienced something like this before. So maybe I'm just opening myself up more. I I don't know, but it's been crazy. He's around.
I just
He's
think he
around.
really think he knows how much you need him right now, like,
Yes.
with your mom and then the breakup and just everything you're going through right now, he just really, I think, thinks that you need him.
Yes. And I feel him all the time, which is a beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing about, being open.
Yeah.
So, it's been yeah. It's been nice to have him around. It feels very comforting.
So how did it go from, like, a transition from you, like, having some experiences and liking this stuff to, like, starting a TikTok that's all, like, paranormal and
Yeah.
food?
You know, I came out to LA, working actress, trying to be, doing that. And
It's
you can
tough.
only it is so tough, and I still wanna do it. Like, I definitely still wanna act. It's definitely a passion of mine. That's what I went to school for, screen acting. But I was like, "I need to do something else," because it's so unfulfilling to just, like, do a self-tape, send in a tape, and then that's it, and then you never hear from anybody, or you keep hearing no, and it's like, but I still wanna entertain. So what's something I can do creatively in my free time that makes me happy for my soul? And I was like, what are 2 things that I love doing in this world? Well, I love ghosts and I love food. So this idea of haunted restaurants came about, and I was like, this is interesting. So I did it. I went to Clifton's in downtown LA for my first video, and I had an anxiety attack. I was like, no one's gonna think this is cool. Like, this is weird. And that was just my panic mode. And I posted the video, and the next day it went viral on TikTok, and I just never stopped since then. And it's been so cool to see that people really vibe with this. I think it's cool because in paranormal, we grow up watching these TV shows of these people who go to these places, but you can't access them yourself. Like they're kind of renting out the space, and that's it. You watch it on TV. But the fact that like you can go to a restaurant with somebody knowing history, knowing ghost stories, it's a conversation starter. It's an icebreaker, and it brings a sense of community, and I think it brings a sense of belonging, and I think that's why so many people gravitate it so much, just like I do. So it's been really cool to see. It's been a great journey so far.
That's amazing. And
Yeah.
probably when I was like, "Do you wanna do my Valentine's episode?" You're like, "I'm going through a breakup. It's the last thing I wanna talk about right now is Valentine's. Thank you very much."
No, I love it. I will still be celebrating. I'll go and meet a ghost or something. I don't know.
Okay, let's talk about some of those questions. What would you say, and you know what? If you've done places outside of LA, this doesn't have to be LA. I know LA is kind of like where you mostly film, but if you know of a place somewhere else, feel free. What would you say is the most romantic haunted restaurant you've been to?
The Wolves in downtown LA. It's so romantic. Have you been there?
Oh, at the Alexandria.
It is so romantic.
I did not eat there, but I recorded my podcast there with Craig Owens.
Yes. Oh my, yeah, he's the historian of the Alexandria. Yeah. It's so beautiful in there. It looks like an old train station. Everything in there is like an old relic from somewhere in the world, like churches, train stations. But the floor is original still to the Alexandria Hotel. The Alexandria has been there since like the 20s. It used to be the hotel in downtown LA to stay at before the Biltmore came around. But it's just so beautiful. It's so hauntingly beautiful. And they have amazing drinks. They're probably like the best mixologists in the country. And they have like this French bistro vibe. So it's very romantic. Like the food is romantic. The charcuterie board, they have like a butter candle. It's just so dark and so lovely. I just love being there.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love it.
I've seen the butter candles on like TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and they look incredible.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most romantic spot, and it feels so cozy.
Yeah. And you know what's cool about the Alexandria too? I mean, it's haunted, of course, but they had that feud with like the owners. And do you know about this where like it's boarded off? There's a whole wing of the hotel that hasn't been touched since like I
Yep.
forget what year, 1946 or something like that.
Yep. And also, that was another thing I was going to bring up. I wrote it down, but I'm banned from that hotel.
What? Tell me everything. What happened? What
Um,
happened?
so I'm not banned from the Wolves because the owner, shout out Isaac, we have a great relationship. I would never be banned from the Wolves, but I'm banned from the Alexandria Hotel itself because there is this woman who is renovating the Valentino suite. So Rudolph Valentino used to stay there, and she was renovating the suite to dedicate to him. And she reached out to me and she was like, I really want a female investigator in here because actually in this suite, there was a woman that was murdered and I uncovered the blood all over the wallpaper when I came in here. There was still the blood stains from where she was murdered in the room. And so she was like, I really feel comfortable having a woman, talk to the spirits here. And the place is haunted. Like I could go on and on and on. I investigated there like 3 or 4 times. And then the owner of the Alexandria ended up finding out that I was doing that and I was making videos. And he got super angry. He was like, oh, she can't be doing this. Like the Alexandria can't be viewed like this. Like we have weddings, we have events here. She cannot be saying that this place is haunted. And they actually had a whole meeting about it. So the woman who was renovating, it was him and his son. And the son was like, I am begging you right now, Dad. Like, you need to have her come and do more. Like, you need to have her come and do more videos because she loves history. Yes, she loves ghosts, but people are super into this. And he just decided, he said, like, if I see her post anything about it being haunted here, like, whatever, like, I'm going to press charges, which I don't know how you can even do. And he was like, she's banned. Like, she can never come here again. And so what I had to do, because I got nervous, I was like, okay, I had to go through my YouTube video and cut out every time I said the word Alexandria. So it just says like haunted hotel. I still have the video on my YouTube, but it was a crazy story. So I'm not allowed to go in there ever again. But it's also low income housing, so you can't really. But still, it's sad.
It is sad. And you know what's interesting? That they must have had a change of heart at some point or a different owner or something because we did an episode of Girls Next Door back in 2006 and went to the Alexandria Hotel and they took us to the Valentino suite in the ballroom, the old nightclub. Like we went underground into the underground tunnels.
Oh my God. It's so beautiful. Like the ballroom and everything. It's
So
so
pretty.
beautiful in there. It's so gorgeous. So, I mean, I hope they have a change of heart again. It would be nice to go back. I didn't know that there were tunnels underneath. That's also crazy. I did
Yeah.
not know that. Wow.
We
That's
went, I
cool.
mean, we went, but we could only go so far. I mean, it's just dark. There's no lighting. It's like
Yeah.
we're with the camera crew. We're like, all right, well, we don't even know where this is going to go. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was crazy.
yeah. And then, but did the person that was doing the redesigning of the Valentino suite, did she say anything about how it's boarded up for the other wing of the hotel?
She just told me that it's like another owner. And I guess they're having some sort of dispute with like the owner that has a problem with me. And then whoever owns that part, which I think they're like a developer company or something.
Oh,
That's what I think. But I don't really know why that's still happening. It's like, what are you gonna do with that space? Like what can you do? So it's just
yeah.
interesting to me.
So
Yeah.
I think Holly told me that somebody recently, or who was it? No, I think it was Scott Michaels told me from Dearly Departed. I think he told me that somebody recently put a drone in there on that other side of the building to like go through and like see, because you can't, even if somebody were to unlock the door, you can't go in there because it's been vacant for so long and the windows have been punched out and like there's pigeons in there. Like I heard that you would just fall through the floors. Like it's that bad, but right now everything is like left exact. I heard there's perfume bottles and clothes and like everything from like the 1940s still sitting in there.
Oh my goodness. What I would do to go in there and take one of those.
I know. I just want
Oh
to
my
see
God.
it. I don't even want to take anything, but I just want to see it. I just want to see.
I'd be cursed, but I would take it anyways.
You are getting cursed. Okay, best haunted spot for just a fun date night.
Let me see what I put. Okay. Have you been to the Rhythm Room in downtown LA?
No.
Oh, oh my God. It's actually right by the Wolves. So like if anyone's listening, you can go from the Wolves to the Rhythm Room. It's like it's a speakeasy. So there's no title of it from the outside. It's always been a speakeasy. It's in the 118-year-old Hotel Hayward. And the Hotel Hayward used to be a female-only hotel. So it was only for female travelers. And there's a rumor, which I believe is true. Al Capone, when he would sneak into LA to like hear about what's going on, he would stay there because it was a female-only hotel. No one knew that he was there. Like no one would
Oh.
suspect. And he used to stay in the penthouse there. But the Rhythm Room, I don't know if it was called the Rhythm Room at the time, but during that Prohibition era, it was like a bar for the mob. And the cool thing is they still have the original floors. So the floors are checkered. And when you had checkered floors in that time, that was a sign to people like, oh, the mob is doing business down here, which is crazy. I had no idea. That's what the owner told me. So it's the original floors. The fun part about it is they have amazing food. They have amazing fried pickles, great drinks. They have pool tables and games. But the coolest thing, I promised the owner, I swore to secrecy, I can't say where it is, but there is a boiler room underneath the Rhythm Room. And she took me down there, 120-year-old like boiler thing. And there's like 5 different access points to the old Prohibition tunnels. 4 of them are closed off, but there's 1 left and it's like a crawl space. Like you'd have to crawl into it, but it's fully a tunnel and you can go inside. I kind of want to get a drone and go in there and see what's inside because it's crazy. She said no one's done it before. She said if I want to bring a drone, I can. It's wild. And they have so many ghost stories. Every single staff member will tell you that they see like a ghost of like mobsters. Like they literally see ghosts of men in these big hats, like sitting at the chairs or knocking things over or calling their name. It's super active in there. But it is such a great spot and everyone there is so nice. Like I highly recommend. It is so fun.
That sounds like fun. Best haunted spot for a first date.
I mean, it goes back to the wolves. Like honestly, like I think I put that down again. The wolves for me, like that's just such a it's so romantic. The drinks are already good. The food's already good. It's just I mean, I guess I'm so biased because that's my favorite place in LA.
Well, tell me what do they experience at the Wolves? Because I don't think we really talked about that. Like, what types of hauntings do they have there?
Yeah. So at the Wolves, since it's attached to the Alexandria, obviously we know the Alexandria is super haunted. But at the Wolves, they have some interesting spirits. They have this spirit in the upstairs mezzanine area that likes to pull on hair. They don't know if it's male or female, but there's a spirit that pulls on the hair of the staff members and has pulled hair on employees. When I did a bartending event there, someone came up to me and told me that they felt someone's hands rest on the backs of their shoulders and like pushing their shoulders down. There's also a spirit of a child, like a little boy in the bathroom who like runs back and forth in the stalls and by the sink. And people have seen his apparition. So that's pretty crazy. I don't know why there would be a little boy there. But those
Yeah.
are some of the ghost stories. But actually, a few weeks ago, recently, the owner told me that he called me and he said that somebody was really freaked out near the end of the night. It was a patron. They saw a man standing at the top of the spiral staircase, like an apparition just standing there. And then it just disappeared. And the patron was freaking out. So that's wild. We don't know who that man is either.
You know what's interesting? I remember Craig telling me about this when we were there recording the podcast. Is that in the parking garage also, because you were talking about floor tiles and everything, there's tiles in the parking garage because it used to be an old historic restaurant down there.
No way.
Like a Hollywood who's who type of place. And these really intricate tiles, like floor pattern, are on the floor in the parking garage.
Oh my, I had no idea. I haven't even been in the parking garage.
Go check it out.
That's so cool. I will. Oh my
It's not like
goodness.
not like right there where like the valet is standing or whatever. You have to go up a little bit and around not like around the corner, but like up a little bit to
Yeah.
the side. And then that's where the tiles are. I'm sure if you ask them, they'll tell you.
Okay. I will definitely check that out. It's crazy. We just keep uncovering like every week I feel like I find something new about LA. It's crazy. There's so much.
And for people who aren't super familiar with LA too, the Alexandria Hotel is right in downtown LA and it's very close to the Cecil as well.
Yes.
And most
Very
people
close.
are familiar with the Cecil. They're like aren't they practically across the street from each other?
I think they're like 1 block away from each other. They're super close. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very, very
super close. Yeah.
Best haunted pickup bar.
I love it. I said the Burgundy Room. Have you been there in Hollywood?
Nope.
Oh my, you would love it. You have to go. It is so tiny. It's all red, so you can't see anything. It's like very dark and mysterious, but it's like a dive bar. It's open super late. The staff there are super nice. It's the oldest bar in downtown. It wasn't always called, in Hollywood. It wasn't always called the Burgundy Room. They had like a few other names, but it's been around since 1919. The bar itself is over 100 years old, like the physical bar, which is pretty crazy. And there's many spirits there. They say that there's spirits of strippers because it kind of low-key used to be like a strip bar. There's a bullet hole in the ceiling because someone got shot and killed in there before it was the Burgundy Room. You can still see the bullet hole. It's right over the bar. The stories that I have from there are pretty crazy and they happen to the bartenders only. But one of the bartenders told me that a bottle of Jameson literally fell on the back of his head. And then someone else told me that there was like this bottle that got picked up on its own, like was floating right in front of her for a few seconds, and then it fell to the ground, which she cannot explain. There's shadow figures there and everything. But at the end of the day, yes, it is a very good pickup spot. It's very intimate, very cool. I love it. And yeah, you have to go. You will really love that spot. And they have Ouija board tables.
No way.
Yes, they have Ouija board tables.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yes.
Something is in the back of my head that's saying you've been there once before, but I don't recall being there. But there's something that keeps telling me you were there. I'm trying to remember, like, why, where in Hollywood is it?
Oh, Winga? I feel like you've been there.
I feel like you've
had to have been there.
Because I was gonna say, is it on Cahuenga? Because I think I was there one time.
It's tiny and it's red. It's just all red inside. You can't really see anything. But I think that's a great pickup bar because it's so intimate that you can have conversations in there with random people if you wanted to.
Yeah, I think I was there one time. It was a while ago, but I think I was there one time. Okay, this one's perfect for you right now. Best haunted spot for Galentine's Day.
For Galentine's Day. I chose Clifton's because obviously Clifton's is really popular, but it has multiple stories. It's like 5 different levels of just, you just don't feel like you're in this world. You feel somewhere else and it's elegant. You can dress how you want. Like you can really dress up, party all night, like different floors, meet a ton of people and have fun with your girls. Like it's just such a beautiful place. It's also where, Walt Disney got inspired for Disneyland. And it's just so magical in there. I think that's like a great night for a girls' night out. I really do.
For people who aren't from LA, can you describe what Clifton's is? Because I actually have never been to Clifton's. The few times that I've tried to go, it like closes down and then it opens back up and stuff. And so I've never just like gone when it's actually open, but it used to be this like crazy themed, like cafeteria style restaurant. Yes. And I remember they were known. I mean, people have told me this and I've seen it on like, different things like this green jello that you would get, but like literally cafeteria style. Like you grab a tray and you like pick and choose like from like a buffet type thing. Yeah. And it was overly themed. And I love a theme, but I mean, this was like crazy themed. Like,
I know.
And then like you said, it's multiple levels. And so that was one level. And then I think that there's like different themed, but you could describe, I'll let you describe it because I haven't been.
No, it's okay. Yeah, so Clifton's used to be this cafeteria that opened during the Depression era. And the person who created it, he wanted a place for people to escape. And it was kind of like a pay what you can kind of meal service. That's kind of how it worked. You could feed, everybody. And it just gained popularity from there. And then the cafeteria closed and they turned it into a bar. I actually had a really cool history and ghost tour with the owner recently. And he told me all about, Walt Disney. Like Walt Disney used to go there all the time. And he pointed out like specific places, like there's this castle in there that he got kind of like the inspiration for the Disney castle, and they look like almost the same. It's so the first floor is like redwoods theme. They call it the redwoods. So it's like all these trees, and it's beautiful. And actually, the mistress of Clifford Clinton, her ashes are spread somewhere in that area in the bar. So the owner has actually seen her apparition on the dance floor many times. There have been some deaths there from the what are those conveyor belts? When it was a cafeteria, some people have tragically died from those conveyor belts. So there's some spirits of those people as well. When you go up different floors, there's like a foresty one, there's a tiki one, there's this beautiful ballroom on one of the floors. There's this, my favorite floor is the one that's like a Gothic castle, like a Gothic cathedral. And it's like
Ooh.
all these pieces from cathedrals from all over the world that they put in there. And you feel like you're in a castle. There's just so many different vibes on each floor. That's why I just think it's just a fun night out, and you can stay in there all night and get different vibes and just have a good time. And it's haunted, so that's fun too.
The craziest thing about this story is that I have not been here. Not only is
I
it
know.
themed, not only is it food and haunted, like, what am I doing?
It has you written all over it. Like, I don't understand.
I don't understand. The only thing, the thing for me is it's downtown LA. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard. If you're not in downtown LA,
Yes.
it's kind of a thing to go
Yes.
to downtown LA and
Absolutely.
be in downtown LA.
Absolutely. But at least with Clifton's, you can stay in there for hours, which is the cool thing about it.
And it's close to parking garages. It's right on Broadway. So there's parking
Yes.
garages and things close by.
Yes, exactly. So it's accessible. They have a cover fee sometimes, but I don't think it's that. I think it's like $20, but I think it's worth it. I mean, some bars it's not worth it, but Clifton's it's worth it.
Honestly, I want to go there like you did and get a tour and like the ghost
Yes.
thing and stuff. I want to do that rather than go and have drinks or dinner. Although that would be fun too, but
It is so cool, and the details, like there's so many details. When you go out, you don't see them, but when you have the owner take you around, you'll just see so much. They put so much into that place. So much
yeah.
thought. It's magical.
So what kind of ghost stories do they have there?
There's one that's very interesting. I told you about the mistress. I told you about the conveyor belt. But there's this ghost story that I've never heard before. All of the staff members say that they see this furry, tall human figure. It's not human, but it's shaped like a human, but it's furry everywhere. It's like an animal, but it stands on two legs and has arms, and it's running around the redwoods area. And they think, I know it sounds crazy, but they think it might be like a spirit of some sort of Bigfoot or something. It's so confusing, and I know it sounds crazy, but this is a shared experience amongst most of the staff. And I think my theory is that it's attached to one of the redwoods, because they have redwoods in there that are like thousands of years old. Like they have pieces of trees that are from forever ago. So it makes sense that there could be some energy or something attached to one of those trees. I know it sounds wild, but yeah, it's the
That's
truth.
crazy. Like that's one of the wildest ghost stories I've heard.
I know, me too. I couldn't believe what I was hearing, and the owner's like, I swear. And this owner, like, he doesn't make anything up. Like he's not that type. He's just like, this is what my staff have all told me. I'm like, whoa.
But like you can see, like you can connect the dots and see to how it could make sense. But at the same time, like it just makes you have to like not only believe in the paranormal, but also like believe in ghosts and stuff, but also believe in Bigfoot.
Cryptids.
And then,
Yeah.
so it just like makes you take extra leaps.
I know it sounds so reaching, but I'm just saying what I've heard. And I
Like
mean,
I'm just
I
the
believe
messenger.
it. Yeah, exactly. Don't shoot the messenger. But I believe them, because that place, it does feel different. It does feel like magic, like things that don't happen in the outside world happen in Clifton's.
Yeah. I need to go
It's
check it
crazy.
out. Best haunted spot to try and meet someone.
So, okay, I did Sassafras Saloon. Throwback to our little investigation at
Yes. Oh, we
Sassafras.
should tell people about that too.
Yeah. I wrote down Sassafras because Sassafras actually has a lot of singles events. I wonder if they have one on Valentine's Day. I'd have to check. But all the time they have these parties there for singles to meet each other. They also just have a lot of events there in general, themed events. So if like you're into a certain theme, you can go and meet somebody. It's just always been that kind of bar where you're social with other people. It's always been that way. So that's what I chose. I like that
So,
one.
to tell people a little bit about Sassafras, Ansley and I actually did an investigation there. Well, I went there and did my podcast first, recorded my podcast with the general manager, and then you and I did an investigation. And I wouldn't say anything crazy happened or anything like that,
No.
but we were definitely getting some communication going, and definitely the instruments were responding to our questions. And it's a very interesting location because they have a house that was dismantled from New Orleans, right?
Yeah, somewhere in the South. Somewhere in the South and it's from like the 1800s, this house.
And they dismantled it and brought it to this nightclub in Hollywood, and re-put it together. So this like amazing looking New Orleans looking house is like right in the middle of this bar in Hollywood.
Yep.
And the bar has its own ghost stories, and then that house has its own ghost stories.
Yes.
And
I actually found out something crazy, and you're going to freak out about this. So 2 months ago, this random guy emailed Alex, who you met, the manager. And Alex was like, so this guy just messaged me. He's the great grandson of the owner of the pizza place that used to be here. So there was a pizza place or an Italian restaurant that used to be where the Sassafras is now, but only like half of the Sassafras. And he was murdered there. There was a shooting, shot and killed in where the Sassafras is. Shot and killed. And I can send you the articles on it. It's crazy. So there was a murder that actually happened on the property. And I found stuff from newspapers.com of the body being carried out, like pictures, everything. There was a huge fight that broke out there, and it was crazy. So yeah, that's new information to me too.
Wow.
Yeah,
And
so
then
that adds to it.
the house is like a very southern. I don't even know what style that is.
It just feels New Orleans to me. It
just
looks
feels
like
very New Orleans. But is it from New Orleans? I can't remember exactly where they got the house, but somewhere like that, right?
yes, somewhere. I think it's I'm somewhere in the South, but an old woman died in it or something, and
Yes.
so people have seen her in like the rocking chair. That's what some bartenders have told me, and then lights get messed with, sound gets messed with, and just random things, strange things.
Yeah, I was trying to remember some of the stories that he told us, because remember we sat by the fireplace and there was something with like the lights right there.
Yes. Those lights by the fireplace, you have to turn them on like physically. Like you can't just turn it on with a switch. You have to go and like turn on each one. And he told me that they would turn on and off by themselves. They still do all the time. And he doesn't know why. And it's not like a flicker. Like they'll just turn off and the sound always gets messed with.
Oh, and that's what happened to us too. Remember the lights inside the house were left on, so that because we were filming and we went upstairs and we were like all around and stuff, and we came back and he was like, "Oh wait, did you guys turn the house lights off?"
Yes.
But they're like back behind the bar in like a weird office area. Like none of us are going to be like, "Oh, here, let me go turn those lights off for you." We're like,
Oh
"No,
my God.
we didn't touch them."
I forgot about that. That was freaky. They like to mess with the lights. But I do
Yeah.
remember too, we were in the house and we heard footsteps above us and we didn't know that there was anybody else in there.
We freaked ourselves out.
Debunked.
Yeah, we went up there, but there's a separate. So just so the listeners know, we were inside the little house and we're doing this whole EVP session, and then we literally hear footsteps above us, and we're like, "That there is no question. There's something walking around up there. Are we in here by ourselves?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, we're the only ones in here." And we're like, "Oh my God, we have to get up there right now." We go running up the stairs and into this like kind of very creepy room that's set up upstairs. I mean, it's set up like a living room, but it's all dark.
It's so scary in there. Like it just looks scary.
It is so I have pictures from that, but there's two of them. There's like two living rooms that are attached, and they're so spooky looking. And there was two guys up there like doing something in like a secondary bar in the other room. So there was there was another staircase that you could access that area, and I don't know what they were doing in there, but
Yeah, I didn't even know we weren't expecting company, but they were there.
yeah.
I was kind of hoping there would be nobody.
Oh, me too. Like if we literally heard footsteps like that, like
Oh,
I've heard some footsteps before, but like this was like, oh my God.
I know.
So of
Oh,
course it was human.
so funny though. That was a good time.
It was fun. Yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. And you know how I know also that it was definitely haunted there? Nothing that crazy that happened, but I left there with the worst migraine. And that happens to me when things are super haunted.
Yes. When I leave there, I have headaches too, and I get really tired. Not when I'm out drinking, having a good time, but when I'm investigating there, like I feel drained.
Yeah. Yeah. I went home and I just was like, oh my God, I had such a long drive home. And I was like, my head is killing me. Like,
Yeah.
killing me. Okay. So the next spot, haunted spot with the best food.
Have you been to Little Jewel in Chinatown?
Nope.
Oh, that's my favorite restaurant in LA. Nobody can beat it. New Orleans style food. The chef is from New Orleans, the owner. He is amazing. They have so many ghost stories. Chinatown is like one of the oldest parts of LA. And this building is from 1890. It used to be a hotel, and it also used to be a gambling den, all these different crazy things. Something strange happened when they were repaving the road. And so the basement of Little Jewel used to be the first floor of the hotel, but now it's completely abandoned. And when you go into the basement, it is the creepiest thing you will ever see in your life. It is so scary. It's been untouched. There's access to like a tunnel in Chinatown through the basement. It is wild. They have a ghost of a Chinese woman, and she yells their name. She has shown herself to the owner. She throws things. She can get mad. And a couple weeks ago, he calls me at night because they're opening a bar. They just opened a bar next door called the Evangeline Swamp Room. So it's New Orleans drinks. So you got to go and visit the bar and the restaurant. But he calls me because they were working and doing construction. And he was like, hey, my construction worker just ran out on me. Like, he's super freaked out. He doesn't want to come back. He just experienced something paranormal. And he like won't tell me what just happened to him, but I'll keep you updated. So that was very recent. That was like as of like 2 weeks ago. The place is super haunted, but the food is incredible. The food is unlike anything I've ever had. Very New Orleans style. The crawfish mac and cheese, the po' boys, perfect. And the new cocktails that they have on the menu are awesome too. So I highly recommend going. It's
That sounds
cool.
amazing. And then I had on my podcast a while back ago the guy who does the ghost tours in downtown Los Angeles, and goes through Chinatown. I wonder if he
Mhm.
knows about this place.
Probably. I mean, maybe. I would think so, but the owner is very passionate about it. So I'm going back. I'm doing a video there soon because it just seems like now that they're under construction a little bit more, the spirits are getting a little more agitated and
Which
active.
seems to happen. Like that is a normal thing that people talk about all the time.
Yep. And the cool thing about the Evangeline Swamp Room is when he was remodeling it, he found the original wallpaper from like 1900 and just a little piece of it. There's like a long strip of it on the wall and you can see it. And it's
That's so
beautiful.
cool.
And he kept it. He was like, I'm keeping this here. Like, this is really cool. So he loves history too. He's from New Orleans. So obviously he loves like that kind of stuff. Really cool guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what would you say is the haunted spot with the best cocktails?
Did I write down the wolves again? It's I just love their
It
cocktails.
sounds like I need to go to the Wolves and actually eat
You
and drink.
you they have okay, the wolves, and I'm really picky on burgers. The Wolves has the best burger in Los Angeles. And
Wow.
I will literally like I will die on that statement. It's French onion soup in a burger. If you like French, oh my God, it is incredible. And I've taken everybody there that I know and I say it to them, and then they finish the whole thing and they're like, you were right. Like, I was doubtful, but you are right. Maybe I've hyped it up too much now, but I genuinely believe it's true.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, the reason why I like the Wolves cocktails is because the mixologists there are like chemists. They're so creative. They can make one of the mixologists can make a lamb chop old fashioned. So he'll use like oils from an actual lamb chop and make an old fashioned. There's a drink on the menu where he literally boils down croissants and he'll put the foam from the croissant on top of like a coffee cocktail. They do stuff like that. That's why I say they have the
Wow.
best drinks is because everything is so thought through and so intricate. They also have this mezcal drink, which is probably my favorite on the menu, where they will put like something on fire and then they'll smoke it and then they'll lock it up and they'll shake it. And so the cocktail is smoky and the smoke comes out. It is so good. Like unlike anything I've ever had.
Wow, that's fascinating. I didn't know like
Yeah.
that detailed.
Yeah. I will hype them up forever. They're my favorite people there and they deserve all the business in the world.
Okay, what would you say is the most unique haunted bar or restaurant you've been to?
I guess this is an obvious one, but I really think Yamashiro. I think there's just nothing in the world like Yamashiro. And Yamashiro, I just went there a few months ago. I snuck up there on the grounds at 2:00 in the morning and I walked around and I did a ghost investigation. Probably the most instant evidence I have ever had in my life. Obviously I know that there's been some murders there that have been covered up during Prohibition era. Yamashiro actually has a basement and a bartender got shot and killed in like the 30s or 40s. And so that happened there. It used to be kind of like a brothel, speakeasy situation. And there was like a woman that was shot and killed. There's a spirit of a mobster that all the managers see. But at the end of the day, Yamashiro is just beautiful. Like the gardens are gorgeous. The original owners, I guess, are buried on the property, which I had
I've
no
heard
idea
that.
about.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting. And then there's the spirit of that singing woman that they say is attached to the 600-year-old pagoda, which definitely adds to it. I just think when you go up to Yamashiro, it's just such a different vibe. It's kind of like it's you feel like this sadness, this longing, but also like this beauty and just I don't know. There's nothing like Yamashiro. So if you've never been, like you have to go and experience it. The food, the drinks, the vibe. It's romantic too. The view from there is like, God, come on.
Oh, yeah. So I was gonna describe it a little bit too. So Yamashiro is kind of like at the a top of Hollywood and it overlooks like all of Hollywood. It's gorgeous. It's a huge restaurant. It's
Yeah.
all Japanese themed. You can sit outside with this little koi pond. There's like the little bridges that you walk over. There's like bonsai trees and like cherry blossoms and like you said the pagoda and the grounds are just massive and gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Like everything is so themed and so amazing and the food is delicious. Like I love their food.
Me too.
It's very, very haunted. And I have a little bit of their history written down. It used to be a brothel in the 1940s, and a woman in the brothel was shot and killed in the bridal room area.
Yep.
And then multiple people have felt her presence up there, as well as heard her crying throughout the restaurant.
Yep.
Also, there's a woman that sits at one of the tables in the I don't know which room it is. They have different names for the rooms, but there's like a room off to the side and she sits at like table 27 or something like that. And she just like is waiting for somebody, but then disappears.
Oh, that's so sad. I'll go sit with her on Valentine's Day. Keep her company.
Yes. Oh, I just have like your stories too that you get from the very first time you did my podcast. I have your stories on here from then.
When I went up to the bridal suite and then somebody like my boyfriend felt somebody punch him because he pulled my jacket and we also heard footsteps going up to the bridal suite and there was nobody there.
Yeah.
That was crazy. It definitely has some energy. As soon as I walked on the grounds with my obelisk, it said I was murdered. And I felt very emotional. And then I put on my spirit box and I was like, all right, who was murdered here? And there was a man that said 3 names immediately. And one of them was like chef, like I was a chef. And strange stuff like that. I don't know if it all, make sense together, but it was crazy that I was just getting such instant evidence. Like it felt like they were throwing themselves at me. Like something's not covered yet. Like something needs to still be uncovered about the history. So that's the dark side of it. But the restaurant's beautiful.
Did you hear that it's up for sale?
I heard that. Yes, I forgot how much they're wanting, but hopefully it stays the same. I don't want them to tear it down. I don't think they can though. I think it's protected.
Oh, I hope so, because it's such an amazing Hollywood, like it's iconic on itself. So I would hate to see anything happen to it. And I was worried too, because as you guys know, the fires are here in LA. We still have the fires, and one started really close to
Yep.
Yamashiro and the Magic Castle. And I thought, oh my God, if those burn down.
I saw the picture of the fire behind the Magic Castle and I started crying because I was like, you cannot, please don't. Like, please don't ruin Yamashiro. Please don't. I mean, obviously, all the fires, like that sucks for everybody. But it was just kind of like Yamashiro is so iconic. Like it would just be such a big loss,
Yeah, and like you said, all the fires are horrible, but at that point when that started, we already were deep into the Palisades fire. Like we already pretty much lost the Palisades. We were already deep into the Eaton fire, which is where the Altadena houses are and stuff. And then this was another one that was starting. And so to see it like right there by the Magic Castle and Yamashiro, which is like iconic places here in LA or Hollywood, it was just too much. It was like we can't lose that too. Like,
Yeah.
cannot lose that too.
Yeah. And I remember crying because I was like, all right, like it's going to happen. Like everything else is already going up in flames. Like it's just going to happen. And so I was really nervous, but I'm happy that it's
Yeah.
still there. So
Yeah,
I'm going to
and for
go
those
visit
that
it
don't
soon.
know, they were able to put it out quickly, and the Magic Castle, Yamashiro, everything was saved, but
Yes.
it was scary at first.
Yeah, definitely. Oh,
So this is fun. I mean, there's other ones from like your old list that like the first time we talked, but one of the ones that came to my mind that is on your list but we didn't talk about was El Cid, because it's a Spanish restaurant here
yes.
in LA with
Yes.
flamenco dancers.
Yes. That place is amazing. I love El Cid. It's also romantic in its own kind of way. There's like inside, outside. If you're into like paella and sangria, you got to go there. They have great food, and I love the flamenco. I think they are doing some sort of event on Valentine's Day. I think I saw something somewhere, but it's very romantic, and I love Silver Lake. It's a great area too.
Well, you know what the scariest part of all of this to me is?
What?
Valentine's Day is got to make reservations like 2 weeks ago. And then
It's
they
true.
have these preset menus.
I know.
Usually that you have to choose from. And I'm like, but I don't want that.
I don't want that. I know. I know.
And then
That's
almost
scary.
always it comes with champagne. And I don't even like champagne. I'm like,
I
I
don't
don't
like
want
champagne either. I don't want champagne. Give me something else.
So I'm like, usually going out to dinner on Valentine's Day is a no-go for me, unless it's somewhere like, I don't know, In-N-Out or like,
Right.
right. Something like
Yeah.
that, which is fine. It's totally fine with me. Or getting a heart-shaped pizza. I love when I score on that.
Exactly. On Valentine's Day, I'm going to Riverside because there's this horror-themed pizza restaurant called University Pizza Company. I don't know if it's funny, but they invited me because they're having a Nosferatu Valentine's Day pizza night. They're gonna have Count Orlok there. We're gonna have a Count Orlok, and they're gonna have themed Nosferatu pizza. So
that's so cool.
That's where I will be.
I love that though. See, that I can get behind. That is something that I'm like, yes, sign me up.
Yeah, it sounds fun. So
except for it's all the way in Riverside.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to make a little road trip, but it'll be fun.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for coming on and telling
Thank
all
you for
these
having
ghost
me.
stories. Tell everyone listening how they can follow you on TikTok and social media and all that good stuff, and anything else you want to promote.
Yeah. So I'm not really using TikTok anymore, but I'm using Instagram. I'm revamping my YouTube. I have a lot of stuff coming up, Spooky Foodie on YouTube, and I'm starting my Twitch streams next week. So Spooky Foodie on Twitch. It'll be super fun. Just talk about ghost stories and hang out. And yeah, that's it. Spooky Foodie on everything. You can find me.
That's so funny that you're going to be on Twitch because my husband keeps telling me you should just live stream from Twitch and do the stuff on Twitch. And I'm like, I don't know if anybody does ghost stuff on Twitch. I think that's all gaming stuff. He's like, no, you can do whatever you want on there. And I'm like,
yeah, you can do whatever you want.
So you're the first person that I've heard that's like doing paranormal stuff on there. So that makes me like, now I'm interested in Twitch.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And it's scary at first because nobody will watch you for like the first, 10 live streams probably. Like there will be nobody, but like it'll get going as long as you're consistent. Like just keep going. We all got to start somewhere. But you can do whatever you want on Twitch. You can just hang out. That's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds fun. I love it. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Ghost Bunny Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me on my spooky adventures, and I look forward to sharing a new ghost story with you each week. Please subscribe to our podcast so you're always the first to know when a new episode is out, and follow us on social media at Ghost Bunny Podcast on Instagram, at Ghost Bunny Podcast on YouTube. Bye, guys.
Bye.